Welcome back. New Ranger coach Alain Vigneault will be without two of his best players again tonight. Ryan Callahan played in the game against Washington, the 2-0 shutout win, but broke his thumb, so he's now out 3 to 4 weeks. And Rick Nash took a vicious hit to the head, an elbow to the head in their game against San Jose, left the team to fly back to New York and is out indefinitely with concussion-like symptoms. He's missed their last 3 games tonight. We'll make 4 as we go to our guys who will call it at Steve Chico.
Deb, thank you. He won cups in Pittsburgh, lost in this remarkable 2-decade career of Jaromir Jagr's. Is one of the great single seasons any New York or New Jersey area player has ever had. It was with the Rangers, 05-06, 123 points, a club record 54 goals. He fell short of the scoring title that year. It was won by Joe Thornton. By then, Jagr had 5 anyway for himself. The Devils can use him to score a few tonight.
And he's been trying, Steve, but not lack of effort. And I would say that's been throughout the team. They've got to just find a way to score some goals and to play, if not 60 minutes, at least 55. It can't be 2 periods, but it's got to be a full 50, 55 minutes.
The Devils start the line that we featured at the top. Bernier, Gionta, and Carter. And this is often an effective move under Pete DeBoer in their time together. Mark Fayne back in the Devils lineup as well. And he lifts one out to center, controlled by the Rangers. Justin Falk able to work this ahead, and Fayne tries to work it out of the zone again. Giving chase, Ryan Carter streaking down the right side. He's checked off the puck by John Moore, number 17 in white. And now Bernier digging in deep for New Jersey. Travis Zajac steps on, gives the puck here. Bernier walks in front, gets a shot off. Lundqvist reaching out for it, and now is able to cover up. And we have pushing, shoving, and a little more what we expected in the opening 44 seconds.
And what the coach hoped for when he started that line, we featured them at top of the show. But look at first guy hard on the puck. Bernier second in there. And now it's just who's going to win this battle. 2-on-2. Good chip there. And the third man, Gionta, gets it back behind. And Bernier throws it in the crease. And then the flurry and battle is on. Oh, good stop there by Lundqvist. He wasn't quite sure where the puck was. But a good start by the New Jersey Devils.
Henrik Lundqvist coming off his best game of the young season against the Capitals on Wednesday. Puck deflects off the backboard. Jaromir Jagr, Adam Henrique, those two working with Rostislav Olesh. A chance for him on one of the top lines tonight for New Jersey. J.T. Miller works this deep into the Devils zone and collides Bryce Salvador. Rangers work it back towards Anton Strawman at point and look to punch it in deep. The Norwegian Max Zuccarello able to shake loose of Marek Zedlitsky and cycles the puck the other way. Derek Stepan behind the goal, guarded by Corey Schneider. Worked along the far boards and sent across by Olesh.
Well, a lot of high intent out of the lineup for both teams, Steve. So I think we're going to see a lot of what's already been indicated. A lot of work on the forecheck behind the board, cycling, coming out from behind the net.
And a bouncing puck blocked away by Lundqvist. Michael Ryder sees that puck by his stick, and the Rangers look to break out. Reaching out for it, Pouliot. Now Brian Boyle takes, but the Rangers are off some. Oh, difficult road trip the Devils come home from. Winless in 5 in Canada. The numbers aren't pretty. They allowed 18 goals. The power play was 2 for 18. They lost Ryan Clough, placed on injured reserve. Earliest he can come back is Tuesday. Pete DeBoer said, of course it's stressful, but our job as coaches is to look for solutions. He was actually encouraged by the way the Devils played on Thursday night in Ottawa, out-shooting the Senators by a wide margin, but losing 5-2. Volchenkov back in his own end for New Jersey, takes a bump, puck jarred loose. Pouliot following up, but it comes out to center, and McDonough sends it into the New Jersey end. Peter Harold on the move here. Packed house at Prudential Center on this Saturday night. Darryl Powell recalled from the minors, trying to control along the near boards. Puck taken here by Andrei Lokdianov instead. Girardi winds it around the boards. Deflects out to center where Mark falls for New Jersey. Devils returning from a 5-game road trip. The Rangers have yet to play a game on home ice. This is the set of 9 on the road before they open up Madison Square Garden, October 28th.
Well, first-year coach Alain Vigneault, talked to him this morning. He said similar to what DeBoer, team's coming along. There you see stats from the last game. He was kind of excited about this rivalry. Now remember, he coached Montreal, so he knows what the Montreal-Toronto rivalry was like. But I said, Alain, you're going to be surprised. This is big in the whole realm of hockey. This is as big a rivalry as you're going to be a part of. And I think we've seen that already from the intensity, Steve, of these first couple shifts.
Got to coach in this building a few weeks ago in a preseason game, but this is for real, and this is Steven Gianto with a quick shot. And the save made by Lund. Aggressive forecheck by Bernier, but the puck taken away by Derek Brassard. Works it across as John Moore dumps in. Corey Schneider starts the outlet for the Devils and taken here by Gianto. Cross-ice pass off the stick of Ryan Carter. Justin Falk is it across. His partner is John Moore. Here's Brad Richards funneling one ahead. Brassard sends it across, whacked at by Bryce Salvador, and the Devils start back the other way. Richards went for hook check. Devils send it to center anyway. Derek Stepan fires into the New Jersey end, and Corey Schneider leaves this for the captain, Bryce Salvador. Devils owe 3 points of a possible 14, but looking to get on the right track here against their most bitter rival. Miller, puck got by him along the near boards and back towards the point. Schneider with a stick save on the McDonough shot.
Tonight's key players are brought to you by Pure Hockey. No one has more hockey sticks at the lowest prices, guaranteed. Some high-end skill out of this lineup, which changes the complexion a little bit. There you see the stats. Henrik Lundqvist coming off the big shutout in Washington. And Corey Schneider, you talk about Alain Vigneault's first taste of the rivalry here in the New Jersey, New York area. He's going to feel it as well, as we're getting a penalty right off the bat, and it's going to be against the Rangers. Inadvertent high stick to the face of Volchenkov. I don't know if he's cut. He's up on the top of your screen there, circling around. So he's not heading over to the referee, try and squeeze out some blood, but he did catch a high stick, and you'll see it.
New York penalty number 67, 2 minutes high sticking.
Right there. And so the Devils lose power play. Yeah, overall, Pouliot's hasn't been good, Steve, but there were flashes against Ottawa. They did score a 5-on-3 goal. I thought they moved the puck better. They were taking the shots that were available. So let's see if they can build off that.
Travis Zajac takes the draw. Ryder, Olesh, Yager, and Zidlitsky on the first wave of this power play for the Devils. McDonough delivers a hit behind the Ranger net, whacked at by Yager, and the puck freed up to the stick of Ryder. Works it back to the point, and Zidlitsky gives here to Ryder, and the Devils set up. Pass across, deflects off the stick of Boyle. Able to recover is Jaromir Yager. Yager takes it off the half-board and looks for space. Able to work this across for the cutting Zidlitsky. That's a bouncing puck, and taken here by Boyle, who skates it away.
Well, in all fairness to Yager and Steve, if you're going to throw it that far across the slot, you've got to elevate it, and then you're hoping for the right bounce, which didn't happen that time.
Geliash, a staple on the first wave of the power play. Unavailable to Fleu, as Deb mentioned at the top. This is checked at by Mark Stahl and cleared by Taylor Pyatt.
Well, against Ottawa, one of the reasons why the Devils' power play was their breakout is we're going to watch now up the ice. They had kind of a set play that allowed them to get into the Ottawa end pretty cleanly, and that's where it begins for a power play.
Peter Harrell, the man entrusted with that. Dominic Moore on the penalty kill for the Rangers, and another clear by New York.
Again, if you're forcing it in like Devils have on their first 2 rushes up the ice, chances of you really getting a chance to set up aren't very good.
Here comes on Bakhtianov on the move. Gives it across to Peter Harrell. Tries to throw it as Adam Henrique tries to push it back to the point and cleared away effectively by the Rangers again. Derek Dorsett sent at the length of the ice. Here's hold one more time. 23 seconds to go on the Devils power play. Andy plays it across. Henrique throws one towards goal. Loose behind the net. Green able to give here to Mistedenby. Tried to push it back to the point and cleared away by Derek Dorsett. Time for one more rush for Devils as Peter Harrell gets his feet moving. Final seconds of the power play here. Travis Zajac done it. Here's Lundqvist. Pouliot out of the box, and penalty time is up. Bouncing puck controlled here by Stahl. Kept in the zone nicely by Travis Zajac, but he lost control, and Boyle able to play it. Big hit delivered on Benoit Pouliot now returns the favor as he crunches Bryce Salvador. Strawman will punch one in deep for the Rangers and controlled by Brassard. Here's Brassard, tries to throw one towards goal and hammered out of the zone by Tenby.
Okay, penalty kill for the Rangers. Let's see who grabs the momentum, Steve. I know it seems like it's simple, but it really is a big part of the game. Once a specialty team has finished, who gets the momentum after that?
Work back to the point here. John Moore, his shot blocked away in front. Picked up by Brassard. And that pass intercepted by Lockdown. Laid across to Dyna Zubris, who's over the Rangers line. Zubris tries to throw it towards goal. Play by Justin Falk. Loose in the Rangers end. Falk able to get a stick on. Under some pressure now. Volchenkov with it. They score on a rebound. Andrei Lockdown. A 1-0 lead.
Well, that question was answered in a hurry. Who's going to grab the momentum after a power play? Well, it's the Devils, and it starts again with some good forechecking. Dyna Zubris shovels it into the corner, and that's Lockdown. But now he stays out of trouble. When that puck comes to him, he's in so tight. Now watch Lundqvist. He isn't to pull his legs back together. He opened up to make a right pad save, but then the 5-hole was open for just a second, and Lockdown carries it. And it's his first of the season.
Well, everyone likes to start well in light of how it ended the other night in Ottawa, quickly down 2. Potentially very important for New Jersey. Found the shot there a step on. It was a great chance for the Rangers to level it up early and poked ahead here to the stick of Mark Bain. Worked into the Rangers and Girardi. Can't control it. Comes here to Steven Gionta instead. Bernier battling behind the Ranger net. Still digging at it. It's big number 18 in red. It comes loose to the stick of Miller, and he sends Zuccarello on his way.
The third assist of the season for Volchenkov, and he's not an offensive defenseman, but that was a perfect shot.
Here's Henrique gobbling up the puck off the backboard and lost control. Now Adam Still trying to give some business to Anton Strawman, but worked ahead by the Rangers to the stick of Brad Richards.
And one of the reasons why, Steve, was he out on the blocker side rather than the glove. Seems like a simple thing, but on the blocker side, you're going to have a higher percentage of rebounds coming your way, and Lockdown was ready for it.
A lone assist to Anton Volchenkov. Devils taking the lead at 7:22 of the hockey game. Into the Rangers end. That's Pyatt who crashed into the boards in front of the Rangers bench and taken here by Stahl. Richards plays it across for Strawman. You might recall 2 seasons ago, he started the year in the Devils training camp and ultimately signed with the Rangers. Devils fans in the building serenading Henrik Lundqvist. Comes across here to Derek Dorsey. Work back towards the point. There's John Moore with a shot blocked away by Matthias Tedenby. Falk tries to throw one towards goal. Rangers stay on this and send it in deep. Pouliot tries to throw it behind the cage and picked up here by Dorsey. One of 3 ex-Blue Jackets in the lineup. Spoils of the Marian Gaborik trade last year. Pinching in along the near boards. Work behind the net. Ryan Boyle in that big frame, try to shield away Mark Bain, but the puck worked loose and taken here as Ryder did away. First period, Devils jumping on. They have the shots advantage, 5-1 in the hockey game. Dominic Moore's outlet pass, broken up by New Jersey and worked free by Lockdown. Salvador delivers to hit Lockdown as well. Rangers keep this alive, and a shot by Dan Girardi is held by Corey Schneider. We'll step aside with 9:40 to go in the first.
We are down at ringside here. You know, fellas, the New Jersey Devils are going to be a team that the small ice battles are going to be terribly important, and they've been that way for a long time. And I think a lot of people would suggest that they're a little bit more skill challenged now without Kovalchuk. You know, look at that puck comes up the wall, doesn't get out, maybe a big rebound, the Devils pop it in. So the Rangers have to be committed to those small ice battles, fellas. The face off here to the left of Schneider. Back upstairs to John Mitchell.
Thank you, Dave. Dave Maloney will have as his first intermission guest Taylor Pyatt. That one put toward the net, stopped by Corey Schneider. That's a right pad save. Rangers keep it in, and Zuccarello in the right corner. Goes cross ice, Stahl has some open ice. His shot short side, wrist shot just wide. Good opportunity.
Yeah, pardon me, John. He had to shoot around Mark Fane, who got right in the lane, and so Stahl had plenty of time. Beautiful pass from Zuccarello.
That one wound all the way down, and no icing call. Devils back for it as Marek Zidlitsky starts up. With speed through center and dumps in. Justin Falk will be first there for the Rangers. More up the boards. Pyatt gets knocked off the puck, and that one put in front. Deflects off two players. Never got to Henrik Lundqvist.
There's that fourth line again on the ice for the Devils, who they've been very good here in the first.
Rangers not able to enter the zone. Devils right back to center. Bernier takes a bump along the boards by Pyatt, and Richards takes the puck. There's John Moore weaving through center. Gains the red line, tried to clear in, looked like a hit Bernier, who's now headed right to the bench, doubled over in pain.
It looks like he may have taken that on the chin, John. It's like he's headed to the bench, perhaps to the Devil locker room.
Yeah, he went straight down the hallway, Dave. Thanks.
Rangers look to start out. Here's Derek Dorsett. Gains the red line and dumps it in left side. Winds around past Corey Schneider. Volchenko there takes a hit from Boyle. Rangers take the puck. Dorsett behind the net. Battling with Peter Harold. Now up to the left point for Ryan McDonough. He puts one toward net. That one through Pouliot's legs, and Volchenkov deflected it away. Held in at the point by Strawman. Good play there. Has a second opportunity. Cross ice for Pouliot. His shot stopped by Schneider.
Oh, what a save there. Excellent look by Pouliot.
Strawman again keeps it in at the blue line. Boyle gets his pocket pick there. Cleanly and neatly by Matthias Tedenby, and it's back to center.
Nice job by Strawman, too, finding Pouliot in the slot off that right point.
Yeah, he had made a couple of good plays there, didn't he, Dave? Knocking the puck down.
Opportunity here for Henrique, left side with speed. He scores! Henrique got behind the Ranger defense and blasted it past Henrik Lundqvist. It's 2-0.
They don't look like a team that's had trouble scoring. A couple of opportunities, they put them in. Henrique with some room, and right from the dot, short side, right over the shoulder. And as we talked about in the open, he is one of the key players for this Devils team that needs to get his game going offensively. It looked like Lundqvist just got a piece of it with the blocker glove, but Henrique makes it 2-0.
So with less than 7.5 minutes left in the first period, the Rangers find themselves down 2. Battle behind the net. There's Jagr. Jagr watched by Stahl. Still with the puck. Using that big body to ward off the defender. Now Fane goes cross ice for Green. That one is sticked away by Lundqvist. Rostislav Olesh to the boards. Across it goes, and now JT Miller flips it out for Zuccarello right side. Tries to work around Green, can't do it. Step on after it. Now Zuccarello finds McDonough between the circles. His shot stopped, and it's back to center. Zuccarello now gains the blue line. His wrist shot deflected wide. Broussard battles Jacob Josephson, and the puck wound around the other way, where Dinas Zubris collects, flips to center. McDonough and Zubris, and now Dinas Zubris takes the puck for Josephson, who dumps it a little bit deeper. Zubris and McDonough battle. Josephson, Strawman there as well. 2-on-2 battle continues as we reach 6 minutes remaining here in the first period. Goals by Laktionov and Henrique have given the Devils a 2-0 lead. Now Zubris hands it off for Laktionov, and his shot deflected wide. Zubris behind the net. The wraparound by Josephson is stopped. Devils with a 7-4 shot advantage and a 2-0 lead on the scoreboard. Collision in center as Richards gains the blue line, and his slap shot is stopped and held by Corey Schneider. So the Devils double their lead, and it's Adam Henrique with the goal. It's 2-0 with 5.5 minutes remaining.
Devils lead it 2-0. The second goal by Adam Henrique. And here's what happened. Watch Girardi right here, who's in good position there. Now watch as he comes up. He just kind of loses his speed. Here comes Henrique. He goes past Girardi, past Powell, and now Mark Stahl has to try and come over from the other side and defend. But that's just too much room. That's a defensive mistake at the offensive blue line that leads to the goal against Henrik Lundqvist to make it 2-0.
Face-off win for the Rangers. Stahl at the left point, winds it around, hops over green stick. Rangers keep it in. Strawman spins and shoots, and that one knocked down in front by Ryan Carter. And wow, he almost sprung Steven Giunta on a breakaway. Now Brian Boyle through center. Has the puck taken away. Nice play there by Michael Ryder, and right back in the zone it goes. Now Dorsett after it. Volchenkov there as well, and now Mark Stahl takes the puck.
That's a real good play by Michael Ryder. He's been a 30-goal scorer in the NHL 3 times, so he was signed to come in and provide some offense. Has 2 goals here in the early going, but just 9 shots on goal coming into this one, which for him is not enough.
And he's taken the spot vacated by Steve Bernier, who we saw go to the dressing room a little earlier, so he's getting 4th-line minutes, at least for now, double shifted by Pete DeBoer. That puck hops over the glass and out of play with 4:35 remaining in the first. Well, Thursday night on MSG Network, the Rangers take on the Philadelphia Flyers. Live coverage gets underway with Visa Rangers game night at 6:30. Rangers Flyers presented by Chase. Thursday night hockey on MSG is presented by Ram.
Well, the Flyers are another team really struggling to score goals. Just 11 goals in 7 games.
Peter Harold and Anton Volchenkov, the defense duo here for the Devils. Rangers have Stefan Miller and Zuccarello.
Pardon me, 11 goals in 8 games for Philadelphia. Claude Giroux just 3 assists on the season. Of course, Peter Laviolette was relieved of his head coaching duties earlier.
No LeCavalier. No Scott Hartnell.
Right.
In center, Travis Zajac has the puck deflected away. Falk slides it across for Girardi. Now Miller's pass in the neutral zone gets deflected away. Good neutral zone work here in the first period by the Devils, and they're right back in the zone with Zubris. Cross ice to the corner for Zajac. Up the boards, Salvador toward the net. That one through JT Miller and held on by Henrik Lundqvist as Falk goes at it in front with Zubris. 3:40 remaining in the first. It's 2-0 Devils. Welcome back. Time for our Cadillac trivia question. Jaromir Jagr tied with Phil Esposito for second most game-winning goals all time with 118. Joe, who scored the most game winners in NHL history?
How about 99?
When in doubt, you always have to go with him, right? You would think. Answer? No. The other greatest player that ever played hockey.
We didn't give Dave a chance to answer. I'm sure Dave would have said Gordie, right, Dave?
I absolutely had Gordie Howe.
And what's amazing is Gordie Howe had 30 more game-winning goals than Wayne Gretzky did.
Wow.
91 for great number 99. 2-0 here, late stages of the first period. Devils with goals from Lachyanov and Adam Henrique. The Rangers with only 5 shots on goal here in the first nearly 17 minutes as Lundqvist stops it, leads it for McDonough. Little miscommunication and trouble behind the net. Lundqvist able, though, to block it from being centered by Jagr. Darryl Powell takes a hit from Henrique.
Now, the one thing that the Rangers did against Washington is they had the puck often, and they had it in the offensive zone. Not as much here in the first period.
A lot of self-inflicted stuff going on here, Joe. You know, you turn it over in the neutral zone and get beat in the neutral zone.
Well, quite a bit, eh, Dave, in this first period?
Very much so. Very much so. I mean, the Devils force you. They stay on top of you. They force you at every area of the ice, but you can't self-inflict and wound yourself.
Hit from behind by Stahl. Knocked down Josephson, but the Devils take the puck.
And for Corey Schneider, he's only had to make one quality save here in that first period, and that was on Pouliot.
Richards behind the net for Jesper Fast. Fast was being hooked. There's a delayed penalty upcoming as Zidlitsky will head to the penalty box. Richards was taken down. Zidlicky touches up, and it is a hooking call. So the Rangers will go to the power play with 2:04 remaining in the first period.
Yeah, and this has been something that's been good for the Rangers, the way they've been moving the puck on their power play. And so they'll get a chance here at the end of this first period to make this, to get to within a goal. There's the effort by Richards as he was taken down by Zubras. And so this will be a hooking call on Zidlicky. Zidlicky on Fost, who is handling the puck, gets penalized. Rangers power play.
And this Rangers power play is brought to you by Volkswagen. Hard up the boards, Moore able to keep in. Taylor Pyatt along the right boards. Back for John Moore. Now Richards at the left point. Rangers also have Stepan and Brassard on the ice. There's Stepan. Back for Richards. Toward the net. That one doesn't get through as Volchenkov got in the way. And his defense partner Salvador is able to clear down.
Now John Moore, number 17, as he told Dave Maloney in our pregame show, that his job on this power play is to shoot the puck. That's what they want him to do. Every time he gets a chance, take the shot.
Stepan hit hard as he chased for the puck in the corner. Volchenkov threw the hit. Devils take the puck the other way. Zubras left side working on Richards. 1-on-3, killing some time. Rangers, though, take the puck. With 1:10 remaining here in the first period. And 1:04 remaining on the power play as Richards gains the zone. Middle for Pyatt. That one hops off his stick. Carter, though, can't clear. Oh, good play. Good stretch by Strawman to keep it in. Final minute of the first period. Stepan hands off for Brassard. Now Pyatt turns and shoots, and the stop by Schneider. And the puck is cleared by Volchenkov.
And that group have been on the ice a long time. They'll get a change now for the final 40 seconds of this power play. Pretty good opportunity by Taylor Pyatt. Quick wrist shot, and Schneider with a right pad save.
Zuccarello was hit up high by Andy Green, and behind the play, Benoit Pouliot threw a huge hit on Bryce Salvador, who cannot get up.
Salvador, historically, remember, he missed a full season because of a concussion. And that's the second time in this period that Benoit Pouliot has come up with, he's had 2 huge hits, and both of them have been against Bryce Salvador. And this last one, he really hit the boards hard. It didn't look like a late hit. It looked like he delivered the hit. Here it comes again. That was one hit there, but as he's getting ready to make the pass, there it is. As soon as he finishes the pass, Pouliot finishes his hit right in front of Dave Maloney. Dave, what'd that look like down there? Oh, Dave's no longer. Dave's getting ready for his interview. So this is real tough news for New Jersey. You can only hope that Salvador's okay, but boy, oh boy, he hit the boards awfully hard. Seemed to look like he hit his head on the boards as well, but his helmet stayed on. But as you can see, he needs a lot of help going to the locker room. And for Pete DeBoer, he's already missing a couple of key forwards for this game tonight. Now he loses his captain as well. Here it is again.
Wow. Ouch.
That's a tough hit.
Now Zajac and Pouliot jostling at the face-off circle. You know the Devils will take offense to what Benoit Pouliot did there. 26.4 seconds remaining in the period. 22 seconds remaining on the power play for the Rangers.
Benoit Pouliot's played a hard first period. And again, I know he's been under a microscope, as have some of the other Ranger players, about playing more consistently. And he's one of those players for the Rangers that's going to need to pick up and really contribute offensively. But he's been much more noticeable in this first period, I think, than we've seen him before, especially in the physical part of the game.
Yeah, Pouliot, no goals, no assists so far this season. He has shots in every game, but only 11 through the first 6 games. And in the last game against the Caps, he played a season low of 10 minutes and 49 seconds. Still waiting for Benoit Pouliot to find his offensive game. Final 5 seconds of the period. Rangers, power play is over. They had only 1 shot. Richards back for the puck. The horn sounds, and the first 20 minutes are in the books. 9-6 shot advantage for the Devils and a 2-0 lead, Jeff.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, the Devils played a good first period. Corey Schneider, of those 6 shots, 2 were quality saves by him, but defensively, an area where the Devils have struggled, they played well. Offensively, another area where they've struggled, they took advantage of their opportunities by scoring the 2 goals.
Well, coming up on the Delta Intermission Report, Dave Maloney will be joined by Taylor Pyatt. He's outside the Rangers dressing room. Ron Duguay is across the river waiting to break down the first 20 minutes. And Bill Pito will have the Audi MSG 150 scores and highlights from around the league. 26 teams in action. It's coming up next on the Delta Intermission Report. Welcome back to the Prudential Center in Newark. Second period just about to get underway. Devils with a 2-0 lead on the Rangers. New York Rangers hockey is presented by Chase. John Giannone, Joe Micheletti, Dave Maloney with you. And that was the storyline, Joe. Turnovers.
Well, yeah, too many all over the ice, actually, for the Rangers. They were credited with just 2 giveaways in that first period, but New Jersey was also credited with 9 takeaways, and this is one of them here. I mean, they just weren't able to get through the neutral zone, and we heard a lot of talk after the Washington game about how they managed the puck, doing the right things with the puck, making plays, defensive zone, making the plays through the neutral zone. Didn't happen here in the first period, and that's a big adjustment this team is going to make. And then the worst can happen as well. Right here. Turnover ends up in your net. That made it 1-0. And so that's an area where the Rangers really have to start making better plays with the puck. And I think they have to start playing at a little higher pace. Do everything a little bit quicker. Players have to get in the open quicker. Puck has to be moved quicker. Forecheck has to be at a better pace as well.
And if that stat didn't say all that, I don't know which one would. 9 takeaways for the Devils, none for the Rangers. So second period underway, Devils down 2. Right away, a shot toward the net is intercepted by Justin Falk, and he goes the other way as Brad Richards dumps in. Lively bounce off the board. Schneider is able to glove it and hold on as Justin Falk pursued.
And good news for the Devils is that Bernier is back on the ice after leaving in the first period, after catching the puck in the face. So he's back on. And it doesn't look like Bryce Salvador has made his way back to the Ranger bench or lineup as of yet.
Brassard wins the faceoff. Brad Richards to the puck toward the net, slides through the crease as Taylor Pyatt was looking for a deflection. Now John Moore spins away from Fane. But his pass intercepted by Green, and up the boards it goes for Michael Ryder. He's hit by Pyatt, pulling the puck back to center. Rangers still in the zone, though, as Brad Richards didn't get out in time, so an offside is called. Well, New York Rangers individual game tickets are on sale now. You can visit NewYorkrangers.com to purchase. Rangers home opener October 29th. First game at the completed Madison Square Garden.
Montreal Canadiens are off to a good start, 5-2 on the season. Their outstanding young defenseman in North Sophie, winner PK Subban, 10 points already on the season.
Think he's looking for a contract upgrade?
That's a good point, Dave. Yeah, right. It was a 2-year deal that he signed last year after holding out. They said go play, and if you play well, we'll pay you. Well, guess who's going to get paid? That'll be a contract that starts at least with a 7 and probably an 8 and maybe a 9, huh, Dave?
Well, it's a lot more bigger numbers than I think guys of our generation could have thought. In the meantime, I thought you made a good point, Joe. I think the Rangers have to pick the pace up here. You know what? They should be a little quicker team, and they certainly weren't in the first period.
Stahl put it toward goal, and Schneider able to steer it aside. Rangers back to the puck.
And Dave, that's against a team where they've complained that they're not playing the game with any quickness or pace to their game.
Absolutely.
High off the boards over Strowman, and a good play by Richards in the neutral zone to swipe it away from Ryder. Now here comes Pyatt right side. His shot hits the post. The rebound slides through the crease.
All right, great work at the blue line by Pyatt and Brassard to force the turnover, and then Pyatt just took it hard to the net. That second one, I'm not sure how that didn't go in as he was able to get it through Corey Schneider.
Glove side off the post. Now the turnover from Pouliot leads to Yager the other way, and his shot deflected by Stahl into the corner. Now Brian Boyle for the Rangers skates it clear. Cross ice for Pouliot. Not able to control, and again back to center. Here comes Strowman. Waits for his teammate Dorsett to get onside and dumps it in. Volchenkov up the boards for Rostislav Olesh.
Olesh, pardon me, back in the lineup also after being a healthy scratch their last game against Ottawa.
Boyle and Volchenkov come together, and Yager picks up the puck. Dorsett after him. Yager knocked down. Rangers get the puck. Here's Girardi, right point. Down off the boards, a little bit past Boyle. McDonough thought about pinching him, but instead goes to the blue line, not able to hold it in. And then Pouliot touches up, and they'll call that an intentional offside, so faceoff will come all the way down to the Rangers zone.
Well, Taylor Pyatt told Dave about going to the net and doing some better things in the second period, and he followed up his words with action. Good defensive play, the quick shot off the post, gets another one. Oh, Schneider just got a piece of that on the rebound as well, so a good start to the period for Taylor Pyatt.
Face off to the left of Henrik Lundqvist. Darryl Powell on the ice with Jesper Fast and Dominic Moore. So Fast for now moved down to the fourth line. We saw him for a time skate briefly with the top line when he drew that penalty late in the first period.
You know, Fast has not been hesitant to go into the corners for a big hit. And again here, he's in quickly on the forecheck and able to come up with a big hit on Andy Green. Foss said for the first 15 years of his career, he only played for one coach, his dad. There's the aggressiveness. Sometimes that's not a bad thing, huh, Dave?
Well, you know, you've got to be impressed with him because he certainly doesn't seem to be overwhelmed with the situation. A little smaller ice, but he doesn't seem to be afraid of any area of the ice, and he's quietly effective in his little role, I think, and after having a pretty good camp.
Devils' fourth line back intact with Gionta, Carter, and Bernier. And that's Carter in quickly on Henrik Lundqvist, knocks the puck away, but the Rangers able to recover. That one slides off the stick, though, of JT Miller. Fights back for it, and now Zuccarello flips to center.
Now, that's a play where the defenseman going back have to have better communication with Lundqvist. That's happened a couple of times down this game where he hasn't known how quickly the forecheckers were coming in on him, and it's caused a turnover.
Especially this Devil team, Joe. You know, they're so effective on the puck, and they don't quit on the puck in the offensive zone.
Good physical play there by Justin Falk. Knocked his player off the puck, took the puck, and now the Rangers dump in. Here's JT Miller left side. Peter Harold in after it. Bernier up the boards. Stahl tries to hold it in, but it goes into the Rangers bench, so we get a whistle. And a reminder, New York Rangers hockey is brought to you in part by Lenox Hill Hospital, the official hospital of the New York Rangers.
Now, for Henrik Lundqvist, when he goes back and he's facing the glass, your goaltender, you have to communicate with him. So he's back there now, he gets it. See, he can't turn around and see where anybody is. So you've got defensemen on both sides that have to communicate with him quickly and clearly so he can make a play with the puck.
Mark Fane back for it. That one out to the right point. Strawman will get there first. Down the boards for Pyatt. He's watched by Green, and now Strawman keeps it in at the half boards. Pyatt will try to finesse it a little bit deeper. He's working 1-on-2. Wound around by Fane, and Brad Richards gets there. Taken down by Ryder. Held in at the point by Stahl. Now the Rangers have some room. That centering pass for Pyatt was deflected away last second. Devils able to clear.
I'm not sure Brassard knew he could have attacked the net there. He had a lot of room between him and the net, and not many Devils players close to him.
Henrique through center has his pass deflected away by Strawman. Well, Monday night on MSG Plus, Henrik Lundqvist opens up about playing for the Rangers, being a father, and a whole lot more. He'll join Fran Healy on an all-new episode of The Game 365 presented by Hager. That's Monday night at 7:30, and it's on MSG Plus. Four minutes, 33 seconds gone by here in the second period. Devils with two first-period goals by Andrei Loktionov and Adam Henrique. Lead it 2-0 over the Rangers. Pouliot, centering pass, looking for Dorsett. Now down from the point spot. Girardi's shot was deflected. Rangers have it for Pouliot. He goes into the corner for Boyle. Zidlitsky there first, though, as Dorsett looks for the puck. Zidlitsky calmly to his defense partner Volchenkov, and now Olesh through center. Waits for reinforcements. Drop pass for Henrique. He comes together with Girardi. Pouliot cross ice for Dorsett. He has McDonough with him. Dorsett winds it all the way around. Nobody there for the Rangers, just Henrique for the Devils. A little bit past Jágr, and now back is John Moore. Henrique and Powell battle for the puck.
And again, with this New Jersey Devils team, throughout their history, they've been so good defending, and they've been good in the neutral zone here in the first period and a half.
Dominic Moore backhander toward the net, and Corey Schneider sees it and gloves it with 5 minutes and 40 seconds gone by here in the second period.
Where you really get the sense that the next goal of a hockey game, you'd have to think from a Ranger perspective is a pretty important one, Joe, right? I mean, you need the goalie to make a save here, and you need to get that next goal. Now, there seems to be a little more momentum up ice.
Yeah, and you've got two teams that are struggling to score goals. Two teams with key offensive players not in the lineup, so it makes you think that this would be a low-scoring game. And now there's going to be a penalty, I believe.
And it's going to be it's going to be Dominic Moore. I think it's a hand pass off the face-off.
Oh, off the face-off. Oh, he doesn't like the call. We saw him get called for this in the preseason, and when we talked to him after the game, he admitted that he did not know the rule. Remember, he missed the entire last season. And so he is saying, his argument here, I think he's saying that he used his stick and not his gloves. Let's see. Oh, no. Did not use his stick.
He might want to pull up Rosemary Woods and burn the tape. You know what I'm saying? You might want to get rid of that tape before you make that argument.
That was not the stick. Left glove.
Yeah, that's in the day and age, where you have so much coverage. And in the old days, he might have got away with that argument. You can't do that anymore. No place to hide. So.
Now, to Dave's point, pardon me, John, to Dave's point, a critical penalty kill for the Rangers to try and keep this, a 2-0 game. Misfire on the face-off. They'll do it again.
Boyle had been set up. He was ready to go, and Zajac didn't quite get in there. The puck came down, so we're going to try and do this right and get them both set up properly.
The Devils don't have a shot on goal yet here in the second period. They did not have a shot on goal in their first period power play. Battle for the puck off the faceoff. Jesper Fast and Brian Boyle are up front for the Rangers. That's Ryder. Now goes left point for Zidlitzky. Looking to make a move on Girardi. Goes back. Now Ryder goes across. Jágr holds for Ryder between the circles. Score! Michael Ryder put it through traffic. It's a power play goal for the Devils, and they lead it 3-0.
Now this is the thing that Michael Ryder has always been able to do, is shoot the puck. He's been a good goal scorer, and Jesper Fast ends up coming over to try and block it. He's 12. Now he'll end up back on the other side once the Devils get control. So he'll work to go back to the other side, but when it goes back to Ryder at the point, Fast will come over and slide, and I wonder if that's not the spot that ends up screening the goaltender right there. He goes down. He also, Lundqvist was battling with another Devil in front. And I'm not sure he had a good look at that one. And the Devils with a 3-0 lead.
Rostislav Olesh was parked out in front. Might have provided the screen, but whatever the case, the Rangers have a hill to climb now. 3-0. Not even midway through the second period. Strawman tries to go cross ice. Here's Derek Stepan. Tries to dump it in. It's blocked away by the glove of Fane. Mark Fane was able to keep it at the blue line. Now the Rangers try again with Stepan. Now down on the ice and injured is Steven Gianta. Looked like he was hit in the face. We'll sort it out when we come back. 3-0 Devils. 13:25 remaining here in the second.
Michael Ryder, a power play goal, has given the Devils a 3-0 lead here in period number 2 off the faceoff. The Devils are able to get control of the puck. The Rangers also had a chance to clear it, not a real clear chance, but couldn't get it out of the zone, and then the Devils start moving the puck around. The Devils have been a team, again, they've struggled on the power play with just 2 power play goals. Eventually, it'll come back right there, and that shot goes through. It almost looked like it might have gone off the glove of Dan Girardi, but either way, power play goal makes it 3-0.
Off the boards, Mark Fane kicks it ahead. Now Stahl hands off. for Strawman, and the Rangers clear the zone. Now left side for Richard. Puts it toward the net. Schneider not able to corral it. Couldn't go outside the trapezoid to get it either. Rangers kind of trying to pursue the forecheck. Still have the line of Brassard centering Pyatt and Richards. Now around the board, Stahl will be the first one there. Beat Zubris to the puck and keep it in the zone. Stahl going 1-on-2 there for a moment. Now Pyatt there as well. And it clears back to center. Well, along the boards continues. Rangers can't get to the puck. Now finally the Devils control. And all the way down and on goal, and the Devil fans let Henrik Lundqvist hear it.
In a long time, hasn't it, John, since Marty Brodeur hasn't been the starter against Henrik Lundqvist. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the goal again. Good puck movement by the Devils. And this one here, watch Girardi's glove in front. They hit his stick or his glove, not sure, but there was traffic in front. Here it comes again, the shot by Ryder. Right glove of Girardi. It looked to me like it changed direction because Lundqvist had his glove up, and it looked like to me it hit, deflected, and then went underneath the glove.
Volchenkov pinches and keeps in, now wound around by Strawman. Stahl after it, so is Adam Henrique, and now Brian Boyle takes for the Rangers. Strawman goes down, looks like he lost an edge. Play continues along the boards.
Actually, John, his left skate clipped the back of the net as he was coming around, and that caused him to lose his balance, Strawman.
Now Strawman can't get to that one. Here comes Olesh. Slides it across, and Yager making his way toward the net, just missed. Now Yager hands off for Olesh. Back to the point and a little bit beyond as Zidlitsky carries it back to center.
Now we talked about some of the Devils that are not in the lineup. We failed to mention Ryan Close's name, the former Ranger who signed a 5-year, $25 million, just under $25 million contract. Took an elbow to the head, and he's had concussion-like symptoms, so he's been placed on IR.
Ranger fans remember Ryan Clough had a couple concussions last year, 2 in a 5-game span late in the season and then into the playoffs. So Ryan Clough continuing to feel under the weather, so he's not in the lineup tonight. Girardi back for it behind his own net, winds it around the boards, and now here's an opportunity for Jesper Fast, right side. Couldn't tee up a shot as the puck rolled off the blade of his stick. Now up the boards, past Teddenby. Travis Zajac through center. Still keeps possession of the puck. Tries to put one on goal and dances around McDonough. Girardi puts a hit on him. And McDonough takes the puck. Coming up on the halfway point of the second period. 2 goals in the first for the Devils. 1 here in the second. And it's 3-0. Dominic Moore with a good play. Back it goes for John Moore. And his shot deflected away.
And Zidlitsky went heavily into the boards and was slow to get up. Remember, Bryce Salvador has not returned, so the Devils are already down to 5 defensemen.
Back in his own zone, John Moore uses the boards for Justin Falk. And that one cleared to center and beyond as Richards tries to catch up to it. Puck slid off his stick. Quickly the other way, Bernier dumps it in. Lundqvist runs it back around the boards. Past Harold and back to center. Volchenkov softly through center. The pass for Brassard is off the mark. Gianca quickly to Yager left side. Yager tries to dance around Falk, and now his back pass intercepted by Brassard. Rangers go the other way, 3-on-3. Brassard, right side, toward the net, all the way through the crease. Now Richards after it, but back to center for Moore.
Pretty decent up and down pace here, guys. Down here, both teams using a lot of the ice here to make things happen.
Yeah, better pace, Dave, but for the Rangers, still not getting enough shots.
No.
Just 9 shots through a period and a half.
Now, that was one of the things that Coach Vigneault, when he was asked about Corey Schneider, he said the goal was to get pucks and bodies to the net. Well, 9 certainly isn't enough.
Bryce Salvador is actually back on the Devils bench now after that huge hit, and he's actually at his left point spot.
That's great news for them.
Alongside Marek Zidlicki, who dumps it in.
Boy, the way he looked going off the ice and trying to get up and find his stick, and it just didn't look like there was any way that he was going to be able to play anymore in this game, but he's recovered quickly.
Spins away from a hit by J.T. Miller, and now Dinah Zubris left side. Able to skate it free. His pass for Josephson a little off the mark. Mark Stahl is back for the Rangers. Now right side for Matt Zuccarello. He goes all the way across. Miller into the left corner. But instead, Andrei Loktionov, who has the first Devils goal, able to take, and the Devils dump in.
Penalty coming up against the Rangers.
It'll be an elbowing call, so the Devils will go back to the power play when we return, and they have a 3-0 lead. Welcome back. Time now for our Timberland Pro hard hits of the game. Joe, there have been several.
And really on both sides. That was Pouliot that got in early in the period. Falk got involved physically. Volchenkov, the best part of his game has always been his hitting. As Green then gets involved hitting and then takes a hit from Foss down on the other end.
One hit outside the rules was thrown by Justin Falk a second ago. He got an elbowing penalty. He's in the box for 2 minutes. Rangers have to kill another, down 3. The only shot of the second period so far for the Devils is the one that Michael Ryder scored on. That was on the last power play for New Jersey.
You talk about faceoffs being key, and a penalty kill. Stepan a great job.
Yager left side. Girardi watches him. Goes all the way around. Now left point Zidlitsky winds and fires, and that got done in the face.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any blood, guys. I think he may have gotten it. Looks like he's pointing to kind of below his jaw. And so the good news is he's probably stunned more than anything as he makes his way to the bench.
Yeah, which is the last time he got hit. There's a deflection off the stick, and it came up. And he was actually lucky back a number of games ago when he got hit with a rising shot, hit him in the chin. He took 6 stitches and was able to come back and play.
Yager down low for Olesh. Off his stick, Dominic Moore gets to the puck and clears it all the way down. Rangers now have Hyatt and Fost with Girardi and Stahl on defense. Jesper Fost got in the way of that puck, and he clears it down ice.
Boy, what a difference when you can get possession off those defensive zone faceoffs, right, Joe and John? I mean, when you're killing penalties, that faceoff is so important in your own end.
Yeah, and they've talked about that often.
Bernier from the left side. He takes the shot, and Henrik Lundqvist had to squeeze and hold on. Wasn't sure he had it.
Yeah, Bernier, a right-handed shot, was coming down the left wing. And so a good job by the Devils up the ice. And then Bernier, because he's a right-hand shot, right here, is able to take the shot off the pass from Henrique. And Lundqvist squeezes that right arm against his side for the save.
Ryan McDonough's time on the bench was about 15 seconds. He's right back out on the ice. Devils control the faceoff. Peter Harrell, though, harassed by Derek Stepan, and the puck back to center. Now Boyle steps in, takes the puck, goes down the right side, tries to put a shot on goal. It's stopped, the rebound. And Schneider able to stack the pads there as well. Final 30 seconds of the Devils power play as Dominic Moore chops it back to center. Peter Harold in his own zone for Adam Henrique. Looks for Laktionov, but now will carry it into the zone. Drop off for Bernier. There's Laktionov, left circle. Had some room to shoot, opted not to. Now Bernier behind the net. Swung around for Green. Up top for Harold, and now left side Laktionov. Second shot deflected in front. Rangers try to clear. Puck stays alive. Final seconds of the power play. Laktionov back to the point for Green. Powell watches him. Green looks for an opening. All the way behind the net. Teams back to 5 aside, so the Rangers kill off the power play, but the puck's still in their zone. Bernier works for it. Finally, McDonough up the boards, and then Harold has it slide off his stick. Harold got taken down. Fans wanted a penalty, none called.
That's good pressure, actually, by Dominic Moore, and Harold actually had his just feet slip out from underneath him, and down he went.
Strawman dumps it all the way down. This one too far, and the Rangers called for an icing with 5:35 remaining here in the second period. Well, tonight on MSG Network, join Al Trautwig along with Ron Duguay, Ken Danico, and E.J. Raddick for complete post-game analysis of the Rangers and Devils, plus a trip around the entire NHL. Hockey Night Live, presented by Lenox Hill Hospital, comes your way tonight, right after this game, and right here on MSG.
Now the Rangers need to stay out of the penalty box. Alain Vigneault was telling us one of the things that he was most impressed about in the 2-0 win over Washington was at even strength. They held Washington to just 5 scoring chances. And you mentioned, John, the shots on goal in this period. All the shots for the Devils thus far have come on their power play.
Derek Brassard steps into the face-off circle. Rangers try to control, but instead back to the left point for Zyglitsky. Across it goes. That shot by Salvador stopped, and the rebound score! It's Dainis Zubris cruising through the slot, and it's 4-0 Devils.
Well, Dave mentioned face-offs, the importance of them on the special teams. It is important, but how about at even strength? They win it, they move the puck around, they get one shot through, and Zubris is able to make his way through and get the loose puck before anybody else is there. So the Rangers had 3 players there, but Zubris gets to the loose puck. The quick rebound on the backhand makes it 4-0.
Dainis Zubris in his 16th season in the NHL. His 7th here with the Devils. Scores his 2nd of the year, and it's 4-0 New Jersey. A team that had only 13 goals in the first 7 games of the season has 4 in nearly 2 periods here tonight.
Boy, just another soft scene in the defensive zone where Zubris did not have to pay much of a price to score that one.
None. Didn't get touched on the way in.
Right.
And it's been an area, Dave, we've talked about it, we've seen it. The defensive zone coverage has taken some time for the Rangers to get going. It looked like they were coming out of it the last couple of games. They've done a better job there. But there's been a couple of rebound goals in this one again.
That one trapped by Corey Schneider. We'll take a break. 4.5 minutes remaining. It's 4-0. Welcome back. The upcoming schedule is brought to you by Lexus, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Rangers. 3 more games after tonight on this season-opening 9-game road trip. Rangers in Philadelphia on Thursday to face the Flyers, then Saturday in Detroit before they return home for their home opener against the Montreal Canadiens on Monday, October 28th. That's a 7:30 start in all 3 games, preceded a half hour before by Visa Rangers game night. Face off to the right of Corey Schneider. Shots are 13-12 in favor of the Devils. Score is 4-0. That one off the boards, over the boards and into the netting, and face-off will again come to the right of Corey Schneider. And there you see it coming into the game. Only 3 teams in the league with a lower goals per game average than the Devils, but they have scored 4 here in the first 36 minutes against Henrik Lundqvist.
On the other part of that graphic, 26th in the league in goals against, which is not very good. And so, I mean, the complete opposite is happening in this one.
Benoit Pouliot at center, can't control, and now the other way, it bounces off Loktionov. And Girardi for Stepan, who dumps it in. To the point, but taken by Loktionov, and the Devils go the other way, looking to go 3-on-2. Here's Zubris, who just scored the 4th goal. Dumps it off for Josephson. His shot sticked away by Henrik Lundqvist. Now Girardi for the Rangers. Josephson on him. Up the boards it goes for JT Miller. Nifty pass there for Ryan McDonough. Rangers look to clear the zone, and they do.
Boy, that's a good play by Miller. You know, he finds that available man, and it's one pass and you're out.
Rangers hold it in at the right point, but only for the moment, as it comes back into their zone, and Mark Stahl after it. He and Derek Dorsett play catch. Now the other way, right side for Brian Boyle. As we approach 3 minutes remaining in the second period of what has been a forgettable night for the Rangers. 4 goals against on only 14 Devils shots, and it's 4-0.
Taylor Pyatt now on the left wing with Boyle and Dorsett.
Dorsett toward the net, deflected away. Henrique after it with Boyle. Henrique scored the second of the 4 Devil goals. That came in the first period. Strawman toward the net through traffic. Where is it? Bounces free into the corner. Good forechecking shift here by the Rangers. Right out in front as Dorsett tries to backhand it. Finally, the Devils able to slide it down into the Ranger zone.
That's a good shift. Good hard-working shift. Dorsett with a good opportunity on the backhand.
Now the fourth line continues the forecheck as Darryl Powell takes the puck, puts it toward the net. Jesper Fast after it.
Well, the Rangers need something to happen here. It can't be one shift and out. They need some sustained pressure. They need to force the goaltender to have to make a quality save. It's been an easy night for Schneider.
And an icing with 1:57 remaining here in the second period.
Here's the work in front of the net. Taylor Pyatt stays with it, but can't get a shot on goal. Good work by Boyle. Then Dorsett. He gets the backhand. I'm not sure if it ever got through to Corey Schneider or not. Let's see. Pretty good defense in front of him by Volchenkov. It goes down. I believe he got it with his skate.
And the Devils have taken a timeout here with 1:57 remaining in the second. Well, experience blue shirt action in a suite at Madison Square Garden this season. Drive new business, engage clients, and celebrate family occasions as well. Single night suites are available for you now. Visit NewYorkRangers.com or call 212-465-6073 to reserve yours today. The suites at Madison Square Garden.
This was actually a smart timeout by head coach Pete DeBoer of the Devils. 4-0 lead. That group of 5 gets caught on the ice for an extended period of time, then they ice it. And he doesn't want to take any chances at this point in the season looking for the first win.
Zuccarello on the right side here now, Joe, replacing Pyatt. So, you know what, Pyatt, they talked about his effectiveness on that line, but the necessity of getting the puck down. You've got to get into the offensive zone to cycle.
Well, and in this particular game, Richards hasn't had the puck much. He was on that right side, and they were playing that fourth line, that checking line against that line, and they've done a good job at limiting puck possession by both Richards and Brassard. So maybe more of an offensive player like Zuccarello, who can make plays and has vision, will give that line a little bit of a spark. Something's got to happen here, Dave, right? I mean, there's nothing happening.
Right. You can talk about, okay, you've only given up 14 shots. That's another story, but you've got to generate more than 12.
Another face-off win for the Devils. Here's Ryder between the circles. His shot stopped by Henrik Lundqvist. Good puck work there by the Devils. Passing play and an open shot for Ryder. And they keep on with possession of the puck as Zubris hands for Ryder. Zubris, Ryder, and Zajac for the Devils. Now out to the point for Salvador. Ryder off the boards. Back for Bryce Salvador. Now down the board, Zubris finds a teammate in Zajac. Now all the way through, and Lundqvist able to steer it away from Ryder. Zidlitsky behind the net. Centers, puck in the crease. Rangers able to move it to safety. Now Richards for Zuccarello as we're inside the final minute of the second period. Richards pulls up toward the net. That one deflected over the boards into the netting and out of play with 53 seconds remaining in the second period.
And as we mentioned, Richards now back on the other side. And again, that line and that group of defensemen, they tried to keep Salvador on the ice against him, who was one of their better defensive type players. And Richards, who's been off to such a good start, shooting the puck more, hasn't found the puck very often in this one.
After the faceoff win for the Devils, Miller on the forecheck creates the turnover. Now JT Miller tries to find a point man, but instead Carter is there to intercept for Henrique. Delayed offside. Rangers chip it out of the zone. Play continues. McDonough bats it down with 30 seconds remaining in the second period. Off for Girardi. Now Derek Stepan. Left side for JT Miller. Looks to work around Fane. His defense partner Andy Green gets there. Now Pouliot at the left point. His blue line shot sails wide. 10 seconds remaining in the second. JT Miller takes a bump. That one off the boards, out of play. It's a penalty. So it actually went right over the glass. It looks like that's what they're going to call anyway.
I think you're right, John. It looked like one of the linesmen was the decisive figure for the officials that pointed immediately. He was in good position as he was right along the boards and made the call. Here it is again. Fane on the backhand, and right away the Rangers knew it. Linesman in perfect position. He knew it. And so a light power play. That was Scott Driscoll, the linesman number 68, that made the call.
Rangers power play is presented to you by Volkswagen. Final 3 seconds of the second period, and the ray of hope for the Rangers, who trail by 4 after 2, is that they will go into the third period with 1:57 of power play time.
Now, the positive, they allowed only 3 shots to the Devils in the period. The negative, they allowed 2 more goals to trail 4-0.
Well, coming up on the New York Lottery Intermission Report, Dave will be joined by a New Jersey Devil from outside their dressing room. Ron Duguay will give his impressions of the first 40 minutes. And Bill Pito has all the latest on the Audi MSG 150, including an update on the Islanders as they battle the Carolina Hurricanes. It's all coming up on the New York Lottery Second Intermission Report. Lots of physicality, 4 goals, all by the home team. The Devils lead the Rangers 4-0 after 2. We've got the New York Lottery Intermission Report coming up next. Back at the Rock in Newark, getting set for the start of the third period. Devils leading the Rangers 4-0. New York Rangers hockey is presented by Chase. John, Joe, and Dave with you here in Newark, and lots to put under the microscope. So our Telestrator look is brought to you by Coke Zero. Grab an ice cold Coke Zero, real Coca-Cola taste, but with 0 calories, it's possible. What do you got, Joe?
Well, goal number 4, that's Dinas Zubris right there. As the faceoff comes in, watch how he'll use his strength right there to get the puck. Zuccarello goes down. Now he moves it back to the point. Now if we stop it again, you see these 3 forwards all up here. Zubris is here. He'll just go to the net. 3-on-2. It's a mistake by the 3 forwards. All 3 of them get out too high, and Zubris is able to get the rebound and put it in to make it 4-0.
So that's where we stand as we prepare for the start of the third period. And a reminder, the Rangers will have 1:57 of power play time here to start the third. And they'll have Stepan, Hyatt, Brassard, John Moore, and Brad Richards on the ice.
The Devils have had a difficult time when they've had the lead in games protecting a lead. In fact, they led Edmonton by 3 goals in the third period, ended up losing. But for the Rangers, down 4. They have to get something here to even have a chance.
And this power play is brought to you by Volkswagen. Here's Stepan. Up the boards, right side. Richards goes across ice for John Moore. Through traffic, that one wide, but right back out in the crease. And it slides all the way through. Now Brassard, back for Moore. Across for Richards. Moore, straight away. Slap shot, deflected to the corner. Brassard looks like he's hurt.
He got slashed, I believe, by Volchenkov.
Favoring his left hand or arm as he heads slowly to the bench.
It's kind of a bang-bang play in the net. Moore's shot had come, so Brassard's going to the net and Volchenkov defending. And I think you're right, Joe. I think he whacked him right in the hand.
Pouliot, Zuccarello, and Miller on the ice for the Rangers now up front as Pouliot winds it around for Zuccarello. To the point for Moore. Now Zuccarello toward the net. That one all the way through. Richards down from the left point. Cross ice for Zuccarello. 50 seconds remaining on the power play for the Rangers. Now Pouliot. John Moore. And now Richards. Left half boards. Toward the net. Tipped by Miller and then deflected wide.
Right, he was able to get his own rebound and actually out of midair gets a piece of it, but it goes wide.
Now Steven Giunta toward the net. Blockered away by Lundqvist. So each team with 1 shot on goal during this power play, which has 20 seconds remaining. That one off the mark. Devils into the zone again with Zajac. Now Anton Stralman. One final rush for the Rangers on this power play. Cross ice for Zuccarello. Looks to make a move and does on Volchenkov. Now slides it through, but Olesh back-checking, able to knock it away as Girardi headed toward the net. And the power play is expired. Team's back at full strength. Rangers had one shot on that power play, and it remains 4-0.
Now, Zuccarello has to take the shot there. I mean, too many times tonight the Rangers have tried to make those lateral passes in the Devils zone, and the Devils have been too good defensively tonight for any of those to work.
Matt Zuccarello with only 5 shots in his first 6 games. Does not have a point yet for the Rangers. Now Stralman behind the net. Watched by Josephson. Up the boards it goes, and to center, where Zubras hands off for Ryder. Right back into the Ranger zone. He was surrounded, and Dominic Moore goes the other way. Peter Harold back to the Devils. He's double-teamed. Rangers look for the puck. Right in front, it goes for Boyle. Shot stopped from his belly. Tries to slide it back on goal, and it goes wide. Good save there by Corey Schneider as Boyle got a shot on goal.
And Boyle was hurt on the play as well.
Yeah, it happened, guys, as Zubras came in on the back check and kind of simultaneously takes Boyle's feet out as he's going to shoot the puck, and I think that's where Boyle may have gotten a little bit dinged up.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Dan. It was a play where he wasn't able to get everything on the shot as he was getting knocked down.
Quickly back into the Ranger zone. Jágr slides for Henrique a little bit too far, and now Pouliot looks to break but loses possession of the puck. Olesh cross ice for Jágr. Jaromir Jágr pulls up, and McDonough stayed with him, deflected the shot away. Jágr looks to center. Henrique's shot is deflected into the netting. No further play behind Henrik Lundqvist. 3 minutes and 32 seconds into the third period.
You see Brian Boyle still in some difficulty on the bench, some pain. As here he is again. Let's see. Oh yeah, that was a good call there, Dave. It was the left foot of Zubras. He just comes in and he takes the feet right out from under Boyle, and that was not detected.
Face off to the right of Henrik Lundqvist. Devils with 17 shots, Rangers with 14. That one wide through traffic. Now Loktionov, who opened the scoring for the Devils in the first period, off for Josephson.
And this all starts with a face-off win, of which the Devils have won 59%.
Fayne's shot deflects off a foot in front, might have caught Dominic Moore, and wide, and now here's Moore with the puck. Left side for Powell. Tries to chip it ahead. Fayne got in the way. And now Josephson with lots of open ice. Chips it in. Devils go for a change.
It's been so much of the story in this game is the Rangers' inability to get the puck in deep and put pressure on a team that's really struggled in their own zone. And that shot by Boyle. That's an easy save for Corey Schneider.
Tonight's game recap is brought to you by Tri Honda. 4 goals on just 13 shots. 4 games, 13 goals in the first 7 for the Devils. And then they have 4 goals tonight. Jágr and Zidlitsky have 2 assists apiece. And it is 4-0 Devils in the early stages of the third period.
For Zidlitsky, he continues to lead this team in scoring now with 7 points on the season, all assists.
Down low for Dorsett. Boyle looks to make a move. Gionta on him, and now Bryce Salvador, who took a nasty spill earlier in the game and didn't look like he would return, but he's been back on ice and skating his regular defensive spot. Hyatt pinched off in center, and now the other way it goes. Carter around Stahl. John Moore after him. Bernier centers all the way back for Zidlicky. Zidlicky goes deep, and that's a good intercept there by Boyle for Dorsett. Rangers 3-on-2, slow developing. Dorsett toward the net. That one deflected away by Volchenkov. Left point for Stepan through traffic, deflects wide.
This has been a good game by Volchenkov. Again, he's not the type of player that you're going to see make many plays with the puck, but he has blocked a lot of shots. He's played strong defensively. We've seen him with some big hits.
I don't think we've seen Brassard since he got whacked in the hand here, Joe. You get, Stepan out here. You're trying to mix things up, but I don't think Brassard's been out.
In front for Stepan. The backhander is stopped by Corey Schneider, who slid across the crease to make the save. Strallman goes down behind the play. Back to center it goes.
And as I count the players, there are 20 players still visible for the Rangers, so he remains on the bench. Here's the last opportunity. Richards just getting it to the net. You see the deflection off Zidlichki in front. It'll just hit his leg, and that gives that opportunity to Derek Stepan, and Schneider able to get over and close everything up.
Fane from the point. Wrists it in deeper, and Justin Falk up the boards, but only as far as Jaromir Jagr. Now Fane puts it back in the zone, and he touches up, and that's an offside. 13:53 remaining here in the third. Devils lead it 4-0. Well, tonight's Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Check this out. Through their first 100 games in the NHL, Corey Schneider has more wins than Martin Brodeur had, a better goals against, a better save percentage, and more shutouts.
Wow, that's impressive.
Pretty amazing, isn't it?
Now, I think back to when we were in Vancouver and had a chance to talk to Roberto Luongo, who was teammates, obviously, with Corey Schneider for a long time there. And Roberto Luongo just went on and on about Corey Schneider, saying he's one of the best goaltenders in the game. He doesn't have a weakness in his game. And he hasn't been tested much tonight. 3 or 4 good saves for him, but those numbers paint a pretty good story about his ability.
Derek Brassard back on the ice for the Rangers, so good news there. That one batted down with a high stick, so the faceoff will remain inside the Ranger zone. Well, Thursday night on MSG Network, the Rangers take on the Philadelphia Flyers. Live coverage gets underway with Visa Rangers game night at 6:30. Rangers Flyers presented by Chase. Thursday night hockey on MSG is presented by Ram. The amazing thing is, a note from Tom Galiti in the Bergen Record, this is the first time that Martin Brodeur has been a healthy backup in a home game against the Rangers since 1993, 20 years ago, and the goalie that night was his goaltender coach now, Chris Carrera.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
It really is. And we've been so used to seeing the great goaltending battles between Brodeur and Lundqvist in this building. They've been classic, some of the classic goaltending that we've seen.
It'll be interesting to see where it heads, right, guys? Brodeur coming off a game where he probably wants 3 of the 4 goals he gave up against Ottawa back, and now you throw Schneider in here, and he's throwing a no-hitter.
Now, Pete DeBoer, you know, it's going to be interesting. You're right, Dave, to see how this plays itself out. And Pete DeBoer saying this morning, we can just win a couple of games. He said, we'll be right back in it. And he makes a good point when you look at the Metropolitan Division, with Pittsburgh being the only team that's running away with things. Everybody else is around 500 or under 500. So it gives everybody below Pittsburgh a chance to try and find their game before it gets out of hand.
Well, you can certainly make the case, I think, fellas, that this Metropolitan Division might be the weakest one in the league so far, and I guess from both the Devils and the Rangers' perspective, that's probably a good thing.
Face-off win for Brian Boyle. Justin Falk around the back of the net. Pyatt chips to center. It's Pyatt, Dorsett, and Boyle. The line for the Rangers now, as Peter Harold spins, and it's deflected into the Ranger zone by Tedenby. Lundqvist back for it. 12 minutes, 40 seconds remaining here in the third. 4-0, Devils with a lead. 2 goals in each of the first 2 periods. Pretty low shot total for both teams. 16 for the Rangers, 17 for the Devils, but all the scoring from New Jersey.
And my mistake at the end of the period, I mentioned that the Rangers had held the Devils to 3 shots in that second period. It was actually 7, so my mistake on that. My apologies.
And here comes Bernier quickly the other way. Strallman gets back and deflects it away. The Rangers with 6 shots on goal in each of the first 2 periods. They have 4 here in the third, and that is their 16 total. Stall cross ice for Strallman. Through center, a little too far for Stepan. No icing called as Corey Schneider touches up. Down the board, Girardi from outside the blue line slaps it right back in.
Well, there's a noticeable drop in intensity here, fellas. Boy, oh boy, even the crowd, you know, just kind of, there's 4-0 in the season game here. There's not a whole lot going on here as this thing winds down.
No hitting, not much of anything, eh, Dave?
No.
I mean, it's been almost from the drop of the puck. And not your typical, you know, Ranger Devil game where you've got intensity and players going at one another, and you go right, you know, right down the Ranger lineup from John mentioning the shots on goal to just 16 to a lot of the players that not much is, you know, no one's really stood out in this game. Henrik Lundqvist has not had a good game. You know, granted the Rangers have only given up 17 shots, but he hasn't made a big save, you know, in the game as well. So they come off a game against Washington where they think they're, you know, starting to figure things out, and then this has been a step back in this one thus far.
Down into the Ranger zone, didn't cross the goal line before it reached Henrik Lundqvist, so he had to steer it and keep play alive. And now Dan Girardi off the boards and through center. Taylor Pyatt, as Dorsett tries to get onside, he comes together with Yager, and the Devils go the other way. Olesh in a chase for the puck. Girardi there as well, and the Rangers defenseman goes down awkwardly. Play continues. Now Ryan McDonough for Pyatt. Zidlitsky had him lined up, and Derek Dorsett took offense to that as he bumped with Zidlitsky as he went to the bench. No contact between Zidlitsky and Taylor Pyatt, so play continues. That shot by Laktianov sails wide, glove side. Jesper Fast dumps it off. Tries to get it back, 2 Devils on him. Around it goes to Volchenkov at the left point. Toward the net, that one deflects off Stepan to the corner. Jesper Fast after it. It's Richards, Fast, and Stepan for the Rangers. Devils keep it alive inside the zone. Now finally Richards collects, and the Rangers start out. More to Richards. Dumps it all the way around. Fast after it. Volchenkov beats him to it, and the Devils will skate the other way. With 9 minutes and 42 seconds remaining here in the third period. Stahl in his own zone.
And now you see the Devils, you know, just making sure that they protect the lead, not forechecking if they don't feel that they can get in and make a play.
The giveaway to J.T. Miller. He tried to center, but Devils got in the way of that pass. It's Brassard with Miller and Zuccarello for the Rangers. Strawman pinching down from the point, tries to hold in. Instead, it's chipped back to center, where Mark Stahl will collect.
Now, Alain Vigneault said right from the start he likes to find 2 forwards that he can keep together and then move a third in and out, depending on the situation. But because of, you know, the way the team's played, because of injuries, he hasn't been able to, you know, find that type of setup as of yet.
That one cleared all the way down. Strawman back for it, and the icing is called with 8 minutes 41 seconds remaining here in the third period. Well, on October 28th, the Rangers will return to the completed, transformed Madison Square Garden, and that will include the Chase Bridges. Off the roof of the famed spoke roof of Madison Square Garden, some terrific seats and a great vantage point to watch a hockey game, and if you have a chance to get up there, do so.
All glass. You see that on both sides? There's a big block right there by Gionta. 4-0 lead. Girardi gets a shot, and Gionta goes on to block it, now limps off the ice.
That one put in from outside the red line, so there's another icing call with 8 minutes 26 seconds remaining here in the third.
Even the simple things, right, guys? Dominic Moore has another stride. There's no icing.
Here's the play again. Gionta comes out, just dives in front of that with a 2-0 lead. Kind of runs in the family the way they play, doesn't it? And that's what keeps him on this team. He was called up 2 years ago during that year they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Was given an opportunity about midway through the season and took advantage of that. He hasn't been down in the minors since.
You know, you could probably make the case, Joe, that line of Bernier, Carter, and Gionta was the difference in the series of the Rangers.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. I mean, they not only can defend and forecheck and do all that, but in that series and in that playoff run, that was a line that scored goals as well.
Yeah, Ryan Carter had 5 goals during the Devils' run to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Now you've got on the ice Pouliot and Salvador with a couple of hits. And now he goes after Pouliot again. Oh, and uses his stick. And you can
Boyle jumps in. Powell's involved here.
I think it's the first time I've been looking for it. It looks like the first time that they've been on the ice together since that big hit earlier in the game.
Something to watch in the last 7 minutes and 50 seconds. The Devils lead it 4-0. Back at the Rock in Newark, and the look kind of says it all. 7:50 remaining in the third. Devils lead at 4-0. And some important players not in the lineup for the Rangers. Ryan Callahan will be out the next 3 to 4 weeks with a broken thumb. Rick Nash still out. Day-to-day is what he's listed, but still not back to activity after the head injury he suffered a few games ago. Carl Hagelin, though, has been cleared for contact, Joe, and that's a good sign for the Rangers.
This was him this morning, and yesterday he was acting as an 8th defenseman, so he was paired with Michael Del Zotto in practice, and he had so it was good. He was in the corners and battling a little bit, and then afterwards got involved in some physical things along the boards as well, so he feels good. He said the shoulder's good, and he should be back in the lineup against the New York Islanders, game number 11.
That's when he's eligible to play his first game. It's October 29th. That game on Long Island. And that should be Carl Hagelin's return to the Ranger lineup. The other player you saw on that list, Michael Del Zotto, listed as a healthy scratch. John Moore hesitated at the blue line. Rangers offside with 7:22 remaining here in the third. Well, tonight on MSG, join Al Trautwig with Ron Duguay, Ken Danico, and E.J. Raddick. They'll have complete post-game analysis of the Rangers Devils, plus a trip around the league. It's Hockey Night Live, presented by Lenox Hill Hospital. It's coming up right after the game here on MSG.
You know what, guys? You talk about Hagelin. He certainly hasn't lost a step. Was his surgery, and you know that speed on the forecheck, and he's so smart. He's a pretty good player for this team.
Richards with the intercept. Wrist shot gloved by Corey Schneider, and he holds on with 7:13 remaining in the third.
That is the first shot that we have seen in a long, long time. I mean, that shot clock was 17-16 favoring the Devils for quite a few minutes until that shot, which would have actually gone wide, but Schneider made sure.
7 minutes to be exact, Joe, between shots there. This one across, and that slap shot is a left pad save as Mark Stahl put it on goal. So 2 shots in the last 10 seconds after going 7 minutes without one. Stefan tips it ahead. Salvador in for it. Jesper Foss goes down as does Stefan. All the way across it comes. Left point for Strawman. Nice shot off the boards, and Stefan tries to put it on goal. Stefan battles for the puck and wins it. To the point for Strawman. Across corner it goes. Stefan will be the first one there. Richards fakes. Down low. Tries to slide it back up to the point. Devils instead slide it back to center. Coming up on 6 minutes remaining here in the third period. 4 goals for the Devils, 2 in each of the first 2 periods. Rangers with only 18 shots on goal, and it's 4-0 New Jersey as the Devils look for their first win in their 8th game this season. Loctiano winds it in from the Lundqvist. Around the board, stopped by Bernier. Loctiano, Bernier, and Tedenby the line for the Devils as Dan Girardi intercepts, and Matt Zuccarello backhands to center.
Pretty simple game for the Devils at this point, right, Joe?
Well, you know what? It's almost been a no-stress game for the Devils. Dave, I mean, they came out, they did a good job forcing turnovers in the first period. The Rangers have really just not been a threat in this game at all. I mean, Corey Schneider, it's been an easy night for him.
Peter Harrell takes a hit from J.T. Miller. Puck back to center and beyond as Adam Henrique after it. Watched by Girardi, dances around Girardi, gets to the net, and slides it just wide. 4-0, and Adam Henrique with some work ethic. Not only in the zone, but now with the back check to get the puck.
Well, he's going to be such an important player for this team you know, this year to help them try to get in the playoff race. With all the offense they've lost, I mean, he's got to be one of their catalysts.
2-on-3 battle, Yager and Olesh. Finally, the Rangers come up with the puck, and Taylor Pyatt skates it out for Derek Dorsett. Less than 4.5 minutes remaining here in the third. Devils have gone 14 minutes without a shot. They have a comfortable 4-0 lead late in the third. Stahl toward the net, deflects off Dorsett, and the Devils sweep it to the corner. Chase for the puck. Lundqvist comes out of his crease. Bernier avoids contact. The Rangers have it in center. Cleared in. Corey Schneider assesses the situation. Hands off for Zidlitsky. A chance of Corey from the Devils fans. That one all the way down. Icing called with 3 minutes 49 seconds remaining here in the third.
The one guy that's continued to battle here has been Dorsett, guys, from this observation anyway.
Now here's the last chance by Henrique, who seemed like he lost control of the puck after making a good move, showed patience with the puck. As Lundqvist forced him with the attempted poke check, Henrique just had the puck slide off the end of his stick.
In typical lockdown Devils fashion with a lead in the third. Shots are 8-1 here in the third. Devils haven't had a shot on goal in 15 minutes.
And they feel good about themselves.
Their kind of period, yeah. Through center, Jesper Fast backhands it in. Stepan after it. Zidlitsky gets there first. Stepan takes the puck. For Richards, in front. And Fast wasn't able to convert. Jesper Fast cruising to the crease. Had a golden opportunity, couldn't bang it in. Now Richards again. Right back through, all the way across, and Strawman down from his point spot. Carter got in the way of that one. 3 minutes remaining in the third period as Jesper Fast has the puck.
We've seen a lot of different combinations, and this is a new one. Richards with Stepan and Jesper Fast. And why not? Might as well take a look and try and find out. You know, Fast has been down third, fourth line for the most part. Why not give him a chance with a couple of higher skilled players?
Volchenkov's soft shot controlled by Henrik Lundqvist, and he holds on. 2:32 remaining. 4-0 Devils.
Devils lead at 4-0. Here's our Verizon goal of the game. It was 1-0 at the time. You'll see Dan Girardi pinch up here, loses some speed. Here comes Yager, who just puts it up ahead, and Adam Henrique had shot to the short side, beats Henrik Lundqvist. And that is our Verizon goal of the game.
And the goal of the game brought to you by Verizon Wireless. Never be without hockey. Download NHL Game Center Premium today. 4 goals on 18 shots for New Jersey. Girardi backs it ahead. Zubris to the puck. He has one of the 4 goals for the New Jersey Devils, who are 2:15 away from their, now 2:13 away from their first victory of the season.
Now the Rangers will have some time to talk about this and try and get ready. They'll play in Philadelphia on Thursday, so they've got more time off. And this is going to be one of those where there's going to be some head scratching after thinking and feeling that they were starting to turn things around. This has been a long, tough night where not much has gone right for the Rangers.
You know, again, you go back to the win in Los Angeles, fellas, and think, okay, there's a bit of an identity established there, and then you get blitzkrieged in San Jose, and basically the same thing happens a couple weeks later here. A pretty good game where you can kind of hang your shingle on the fact you're going to be on the puck and you're going to make different plays, and really from the get-go, not so fast here tonight.
Yeah, you know, Dave, it's a different game, right? I mean, against San Jose and against Anaheim, 2 teams that like to come at you and use their speed and be offensive and put pressure on your zone. They didn't play a Devils team that plays that way. Now the Rangers are going to be shorthanded again. This time Zuccarello.
Loktianov goes cross ice. That shot stopped by Henrik Lundqvist, and the man who will go to the penalty box touches up to get the whistle with 1:15 remaining. Matt Zuccarello heads to the box. The Rangers will play out the rest of this game shorthanded.
Right, you're right, Joe. It is difference in opposition, and I think that's even a little more discerning. He's back here against the Devil team that's been struggling.
There's the penalty as Zuccarello in the offensive zone takes the penalty, and the Devils, before the whistle blew, had that opportunity. And Bernier gets the chance. That's that fourth line that's out there and creates a good scoring chance.
So the Devils on the power play for the final 1 minute of this hockey game. 1 for 3 on the power play for the evening. Michael Ryder's goal was the only power play goal the Devils scored. They came into the game 2 for 22 on the season with the man advantage. Adam Henrique from center. Bernier dumps in. And there will be a high sticking call as Dan Girardi was clipped by Loktianov, so he'll go to the penalty box, and the teams will skate 4-on-4 with 38.3 seconds remaining.
Loktianov put in the lineup by Pete DeBoer because of the flu to Patrick Elias. Came up with the flu and was not well enough to play in this game. And then Damian Brunner, who led this team, who leads this team in goals with 3, has had was a little banged up. Did skate this morning a little bit, but was not well enough to play in this one as well. So Loktianov gets put in the lineup and scores his first goal of the season to make it 1-0.
Icing whistled with 27.7 seconds remaining. Team skating 4-on-4. The faceoff will be to the right of Corey Schneider. Moore and Miller with Stahl and John Moore. Dominic Moore jumped the gun on the faceoff, so they'll do it again. JT Miller fights for the puck. Stahl has it. Now Zajac out for Zubris. The Devils fans cheer the home team in what will be their first win of the season. Final 5 seconds. And back to the drawing board for the Rangers. As the buzzer sounds, and that is it. So Corey Schneider, with his first shutout as a New Jersey Devils goaltender, his 10th career shutout. And on a night where the Devils get only 19 shots on goal, they beat the Rangers 4-0 here in Newark.
Well, they certainly deserve to win because they came out and they played a good defensive game. Now, as Pete DeBoer was saying this morning, he had to tweak the way the team has played a little bit because they're not as offensive. They missed a couple of their good offensive players, couldn't play tonight. And with the losses of those other players that we talked about, it's a different team than we saw just a couple of years ago when they were in the finals. But you give them credit because they came out and they put pressure on the Rangers. They forced the Rangers into an awful lot of turnovers, both in their zone and in the neutral zone. The Rangers were never able to establish a good forecheck. And Corey Schneider, who gets the shutout with 22 saves, didn't have to make more than 3 or 4 high-quality saves.
Well, your stars of the game brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit on the web at searchmercedes.com. 22 saves, 6 in the first, 6 in the second, 10 in the third. And Corey Schneider gets the shutout for Brian Boyle. 4 of the Rangers' 22 shots. He won all but 4 of his faceoffs. And Brian Boyle, on a night where the Rangers get shut out, is one of our Mercedes stars of the game.
Now, again, for Corey Schneider, I think what we're going to end up seeing here, and it's been a difficult start to this season for the great Hall of Famer whenever he decides to quit, Marty Brodeur. But I think this Devil team going forward, if they want to win games, they're going to have to win by low scores.
So the Devils celebrate their first win of the year and the first shutout for Corey Schneider. We're back in a moment with more. Devils beat the Rangers.